time now to take stock of what promises to be a fabulous race day for European contenders in Chicago at Arlington Park for Arlington Million Day. Arlington Million, of course, started in 1981 by Dick Duchessois, the world's first ever $1 million race day. Both John Gosden and Luca Cumani have won the race before. Cumani in 1983 with Tolomeo, and he seeks to win it again this year with Afsari. And we've come here to Bedford House in Newmarket to catch up with the trainer and to catch up with his next potential international superstar. Well, Luca, this is Afsari, who's been here to give you your second Arlington Million win. How long's it been that you've had this race in mind for him?
Basically, after he won at Sandown, he won so well that day, over a mile and a quarter, which appears to be his very best trip. And we thought if he runs well at York on last Saturday, then we'll seriously consider it. And he did run well. He only just got beat. It would have been nicer if he'd won, but he only just got beat. So he doesn't know he just got beat. He thinks he's won. So I think it was good enough performance to consider the Arlington Million next.
Do you think there are different circumstances under which he might have won the York race?
Well, it's difficult to say. Look, you know, some races you win, some races you lose by a short head or a neck or whatever. And yeah, it's easy to find sort of reasons why and why not. Kieran thinks that, you know, if Sri Putra hadn't been that far away from him and would have engaged him in a head-to-head, he might have prevailed. But I'm sure Roger Varian thinks differently. So.
And I suppose when you're trying to send a horse to another country to win a big race, they have to be the right type of horse temperamentally, and it looks as though he is.
Oh, he's got a fantastic temperament. He's very, very good, and he would like the tight track. He's got a very good turn of foot, as you saw the other day. He travelled best of all when he was asked to quicken in a matter of strides. So that would suit a small track like Arlington is, which is a 7 furlong round course. So yeah, he'll be just suited for it. Yeah.
And I was saying a while ago that standing next to him in the unsaddling enclosure at York, you look at him and he's just about the perfect model. Not too big, not too small, well balanced, sort of handy enough really for that sort of thing.
No, he's a very, very good looking horse. I mean, if you had 10 horses that look as well or as good looking as him, you'd have a lot of champions.
And you were saying that that's a mark of the Dubawis. Have you had quite a few?
I've had a few Dubawis, and I trained the dam of Dubawi, and I trained quite a few brothers and sisters of Dubawi, and they've all got fantastic temperament, and they're all very good looking horses. And the dam herself, she was Smeralda, she was very well travelled. She won the Italian Oaks, and she won the Lydia Tesio, and she won the E.P. Taylor, and she was third in the Breeders' Cup, fillies and mares. So she knew how to travel and she knew how to perform.
And of course you won the 83 Arlington Million, which I think was just the third one that had ever been run with Ptolomeo. That was pretty pioneering back then. When they put the $1 million on offer back in the early 80s, was that something you thought, yeah, I want a piece of that, I'm going to try and find the horse to win the race, or did it come about through circumstance?
Well, my ears pricked, you know, because in 83 $1 million was a lot of money. And so my ears definitely pricked when I knew about that. And Ptolomeo turned out to be the right type of horse. He was a mile and a quarter horse with a good kick, and he went there, and we got lucky. We just got a good run on the inside. Pat Edery rode him, gave him a beautiful ride, and we just managed to beat John Henry, who was the superstar at the time in American racing.
That must have been a little bit special. I bet the atmosphere was quite something with John Henry there, because he'd already built up this cult following, hadn't he?
That's right. No, it was a great day. It was a great day, a long time ago, but I still remember it vividly.
And Pat Edery, I guess, in those days, someone who on the big stage was almost unsurpassable.
Yeah, he was very cool. He was very cool. He just sat behind the leaders. And as I say, we got slightly lucky because in the straight, a gap opened up between the horse that was leading and the rails, and he just flung Ptolomeo in that, and he lasted out all the way to the line.
Just tell me a little bit more about Ptolomeo, about what type of horse he was, how you got him, and the owner and so forth. Just fill in the gaps for me.
Well, Ptolomeo was a very, very good-looking horse. That wasn't very expensive as a yearling. He was by a first-season sire at the time, Leafeo, who subsequently then proved to be quite a successful stallion. And we bought him at Goffs. I can't remember how much for, but I remember it wasn't a lot of money. And he was owned by Carlo D'Alessio, who at the time was a big international owner, Italian but international owner. As you may remember, he had some good horses with Henry Cecil, Bolkonski, Waller, Lemos, and so on. And Ptolomeo was his first appearance on the big scene was when he finished second in the Guineas. Then he was second in the, he had a bit of seconditis. He was second in the St James Palace, and then second in the Sussex. And then we went to Arlington and we won the Million.
And you ended up training for Dick Duchessois, of course, who was very much the man behind the Arlington Million. Was that how the association came about?
Yeah, pretty much so. And we had a wonderful time for a few years with Dick Duchessois. We had some very good horses for him. Second Set, who won the Sussex and won the St James Palace. And we had Celestial Storm, who's the best mile and a half horse of his year. And Statobless, who was a champion sprinter. And so we had a wonderful time. And Dick, I remember him very affectionately because he's a great man, a great enthusiast. And what he did for Arlington after it burnt down was unbelievable, because he had it rebuilt in a year and a half. And no, he's a great man. He's still around and he's still running Arlington. I think he's in his 80s and full of enthusiasm and full of energy.